sunshine, and I love her very much. I teach Russian in Austin, and I teach English for Webelang. Nice to meet you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Professor Lero about what he just said? Or if you had trouble understanding, you can always write in the chat what your question is.
You can say, I didn't understand, because that's okay. Did anyone not understand anything I said? Anyone have a question? Dina?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Please.
How old are your children?
My children, my son was born, let me think, in 1978. What does that make him? 40? 44? 45? And my daughter my daughter is 39. I don't know, my daughter is 40, my son is 46. Ooh. And my grandchildren are 12, 8, 12, 8, 6, 12, 8, 6, and 5. And my 12-year-old is my first grandchild is a girl. And 12, her next birthday is very important in America. Do you know why?
Why?
Why do you think? She's 12 now. Her birthday is in August. Why is this birthday so important?
She should go to the middle school or something.
Well, she's already in middle school. That's a good answer. But in English, she will be 13, and she will have that word teen in her age, and she will be officially a teenager. Now, that's not true in Russian, huh? That's not true in Russian. But in English, it's a very important factor that she will go from 12 to 13, and then she will be a teenager. Oh, my goodness. Dina, thank you. Good question. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Was it difficult to learn Russian?
What?
Was it difficult to learn Russian?
What is difficult to learn Russian? Oh, my goodness. Everything. Everything. It's completely different from English. And I don't want to. It's a good question. Olga, was that your question?
Yes.
The alphabet is the easy part, but the grammar and the syntax and the fact that Russian is an inflected language and has aspect, and those things are very difficult for English speakers. What's difficult about learning English? Olga, what's difficult about learning English?
I think some tenses. For example, past perfect is difficult.
Yeah, that's very difficult. It's a hard language for English speakers, yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Past perfect, yeah, all that stuff, all that. English has incredibly complicated verb tenses, unlike Russian. Okay, let's see, Professor Campbell, you're in charge, or Professor Marston. We want to hear the rest of the elevator speeches.
Maybe I will tell you about myself. I'm Jan Marston. I live in the Midwest. I live in Iowa, and at some point I will show you a map, but not just now. My specialty, my academic specialty is medieval French languages and literature. That means that I speak a number of varieties of French that nobody remembers anymore. I also have studied Latin, and I speak modern French and modern Spanish and American English. Because of my Latin background, sometimes I can catch cognate words similar in Russian, but not always. So usually I am clueless if you speak Russian. So I'm like the canary in the coal mine. If I stop breathing, then you know we're in trouble and it's time to get out. In this case, get out of Russian and going back to speaking English. I have one daughter and 2 grandchildren. My daughter is 45, and she works for a high-tech company. And I've just gotten a text message from her to say that she has landed in Helsinki, where she will be working at the home company, home office for a week or so. My grandchildren are 22 and 12. So one of my grandchildren is a college student, and the other one is on the brink of being a teenager. So do you have any questions for me? I might add, I walk 5 miles a day, and I love to do yoga and cook and garden. Professor Lero loves to garden and cook too. He's a very good cook. So I know that wasn't supposed to be in my elevator speech, but I can't help myself.
Well, I accept. Well, okay, ladies, any questions? Any questions?
Can I ask?
Yes.
Do you always know that you will be learning languages?
Let's see. Will I always go on learning more languages? Is that what I understood? I love learning languages. But I think it is useful for me not to know Russian, because in this case, it makes me a better English teacher. But yes, I love studying languages. Since my daughter is on her first trip to Finland, she and I have been studying Finnish together while she got ready for her trip. I have a reading knowledge of some other languages that I didn't mention. And you might ask that also of Professor Lero, because he has secrets that he hasn't told you yet about his languages.
Well, that will come in time. That will come in time. Let's see. Any other questions of Professor Marston? Yes.
Professor, you mentioned that you know Latin. Is it very important to know such old languages nowadays?
Well, I find it very useful, especially if I want to identify birds or diseases or plants. And it's useful for Romance languages, which has been the basis of my studies for a long time. I enjoy Latin. I wouldn't say I'm fluent in it, especially since the principal part of my Latin studies has been medieval Latin, which we know is a long way from Tacitus.
Thank you.
Any others?
Good
All right,
question.
Professor Campbell, I wonder if you would give us a quick elevator speech about yourself.
So my name is Abigail Matt, and you can all call me Abby. That's just fine. So I have a lot more similarities with Professor Marston than I realized. My specialization in college and at the university is French linguistics. And currently I live in St. Louis, Missouri, so that's also in the Midwest. It's just south of Iowa, where Professor Marston lives. And let's see, what else to say? I love gardening, and I'm trying to have a large garden this year. And my husband is a cop, or a police officer. So you can ask me any questions you like. There are no questions that you're not allowed to ask, so please, your questions.
Can I?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead. I'm sorry, and your name is?
Marina.
Is Lina?
Marina.
Sorry, Marina. Yes, go ahead, Marina.
Oh, how long you are a professor?
Oh, I have taught for Webby Lang. Oh my goodness, 5 years. I'm not a professor as far as having a PhD, which this is the technical requirement for being a doctor. I have a master's degree. That is a very good question. So my master's degree is in, I have a Master's of Art, that's what MA stands for, in French linguistics. I'm typing as fast as I can. In French linguistics, and I graduated a year ago. And so I have not yet continued to get a PhD, but I hope that someday I may continue my studies.
And am I correct in assuming that you graduated from the University of Texas at Austin?
Yes, I did. I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. So I met Joe down in Texas, Professor Lero in Texas. Yeah.
And I hold a master's degree and a PhD from the University of Texas at Austin.
Ah, so we have many things in common with Professor Marston.
Yes, we will speak more about this anon.
Oh, yes. Other questions? That was a great question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe. You want to?
Oh no, you're going
with the elevator speeches?
I want to hear the students tell us about themselves.
Of
Okay.
course, definitely.
Dina, how about let's see, or Marina, tell us about yourself. Links 89.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. My name is Marina. I'm 24 years old. A few years ago, I graduated from university. I have completely technical specialization major, and I want to. I'm fond of philology, and I want to be a translator because I'm fond of reading. I like reading in original, in English.
Okay. Do you have a favorite American author?
Well, not a favorite, but a lot of favorite authors. Many authors, like Woodhouse, but maybe he's not American.
Oh, yes,
Dickens, London.
Some excellent authors.
Good.
Okay.
Marina, thank you so much. Marina. Okay, Maria. Are you there?
I'm here.
Go ahead. Tell us about yourself, Marina.
I'm a teacher of history, and now I'm a teacher of English in the elementary school. I'm a teacher in the village,
Mm-hmm.
but I live in Moscow, and now
Okay.
now I
Now I'm.
I don't remember this yet.
Okay. All right. Not to worry.
I like children. I like kids, and I would like to do some projects with Professor Shishakov, or with talking with him.
Mm-hmm.
They
Okay. Good.
enough.
Any questions for Maria? Nastya?
Yeah.
Nastya, tell us about yourself. Echo Moskville, huh? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you hear me? Is it okay?
Yes,
Sure.
we hear you well.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm 30 years old. I'm a journalist, and I work on the radio. And here is my broadcasting studio. I finished my working term just half an hour ago. And what else? And I'm married. I have a little son, and I'm waiting for the second baby now. So I'm studying, working, and waiting for the baby mom with a catastrophic lack of time, and that's all I think.
Is your second baby a boy or a girl?
I don't know yet.
No.
Yet I don't know.
I don't know. Well, these days you can find out. When my wife and I were having children, you didn't know. Now you can know. But your first,
yes, I will know the next week.
Yeah. But so your first one is a little boy, huh?
Yes,
what,
little boy.
what does he like to eat?
To eat?
Yeah.
He likes to eat spaghetti.
Spaghetti. And what does he not like to eat?
Bananas.
Wait.
Why? He just doesn't like to eat bananas.
He doesn't like to eat bananas. How funny.
He hates bananas.
He hates bananas. Well, well, goodness gracious. All right. Well, spaghetti and bananas. How interesting. Nastya, it's good to have you with us. It's good to have you with us. Olga, how about yourself, please?
My name is Olga, or Olga for short. I'm 26. I'm a teacher of German, and I am a specialist in English, but I have been teaching for English for about past years, so I want to improve it. And I like to learn other languages such as Czech, Dutch, and I like to communicate with the people.
Good. Fascinating. Any questions for Olga? Comments? Anyone?
Have you traveled to any of the countries where they speak languages you've studied?
Well, unfortunately, no, but I was in Czech where I spoke English.
Yes, of course. That's excellent. Wonderful.
Okay, good. Thank you kindly. Tatiana, please.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm 32 years old. I'm a pharmacist, but now I don't work as a pharmacist. I work in the library. And learn to be translating. I'm very fond of reading, and as Marina said, I enjoy reading in original. And now my great hobby is cooking. I'm very fond of cooking, and I especially like baking.
Like bacon?
Mm-hmm.
That was you like bacon?
Baking.
Oh, baking.
Baking. Cakes, pies,
Yeah.
cookies.
Oh, do you bake bread?
I have never done it, but I want.
I would like to bake. I would like to bake bread. Maybe sometime I'll post a. There's some easy. I don't know how to bake bread. I would love to know how to do that. I wish I could.
It's very easy.
It is.
Oh, it depends.
I think it's not hard.
I've done it and it turned out wonderful, and then other times and I think I think the timing is important.
Yes,
I think that timing is important. I think you have to be patient with baking bread. Maybe it's like learning a language that you have to be very patient. You can't
And
do
like
it
to
overnight.
be a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Tatiana, what is it that you like to bake?
I like to cook cookies.
Cookies. You bake cookies. Chocolate chips?
I don't like chocolate.
Wow.
But I like to cook them. I like to cook them, not to eat.
So what do you do with them once you bake them?
Sorry.
What do you do with the cookies that you bake?
I'm sorry, I can't understand it.
Okay, you don't like to eat the cookies. What do you do with the cookies that you bake? Do you give them to people?
Yes, I like to give it to someone.
So who do you give them to?
My family or my friends.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Dina, are you ready to tell us about yourself?
Yes, I'm ready. I want to know English well. Besides, I want to learn French, as I said. Also, I like to read, go to theaters, and meet with friends.
Interesting. Good. Any questions for Dina? Anyone? No? No questions? Vita? Vita, how about you? Do you have a question? Could you tell us about yourself? And Vita, and then listen, and right after Vita, Julia and Rosa, because we have some literature that we have to tend to today. This is interesting. I'm enjoying getting to know you. Kids who don't like spaghetti don't like bananas and chocolate chip cookies, and keep going. Ekomasfir. Vita.
Okay. I am Rita. I am 28. I am from Russia, from Tuva Republic. Do you know where it is?
Tell us where it is.
It's Republic now. In my town, it's midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So I am so sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
And I work in Chinese company, mining company. And so I can speak little English and little Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And my family is this. I have four sisters. Two of them are elder, and two are younger than me.
Oh.
And so my parents have 5 children, and all of they have 5 daughters.
Mm-hmm. Whoa. Do you speak Chinese?
Yes, I do.
Whoa. What do you speak Mandarin or Cantonese, or what do you speak?
Ni hao.
Oh, that's impressive. Well, that's fascinating. Yulia.
Excuse me.
Oh, go ahead.
Question. Go ahead. What language do you speak at home, Vita? Yes. What kind of language do you speak at home?
I am Turinyan, so Turinyan is my native language, and also Russian, Turinyan, Russian. Both languages.
So Tuvian and Russian? Did I understand correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
Turinyan.
Sorry.
And what language do your parents speak?
What language
do your parents speak? Your mother and father speak what language?
Because why is in Russian, so Russian and Slovenian for us is like both language like native, and so I can use Slovenian, I can use Russian.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Yulia, and then Rosa.
So, I'm 44 years old. My specialty is writing. I work in Kazan Federal University in research lab. I have a little son. He's 5 years.
As your son goes to school?
No, it's little, 5 years old.
Does he go to kindergarten?
Yes.
Yeah. Does he like school?
No.
No.
Don't like. No.
He doesn't like school.
He does to play.
Yeah. Well, so do you tell him that when he says I don't like school, do you say school is good?
I say to him.
Yeah. And what university do you work in?
I work research.
Okay. Okay, and last but not least, Rosa, please. Rosa, tell us about yourself. Tell us your elevator speech. Here comes the elevator. I push the button. Второй этаж. Go ahead.
We can't hear you, Rosa.
No, you can't hear me.
Ah, yes. yes, we can.
Wow.
My name is Rosa. I am 23. I have finished university last year. My specialty was Russian language, and I also have finished the Spanish school. And now I'm going to learn English as much as possible. And I am obsessed with languages, with literature, and also I love traveling.
That's good. Okay. You learn language, and you study philology, Russian philology.
Yes, Russian philology. My specialty is a teacher of Russian language, but now I'm working as a secretary in the medical organization.
in a medical organization, really? Yeah, as a secretary. So, do medical people have their own language, don't they? Medical people, they speak a different language.
Yes, but
Don't they?
I try to learn their language. I'm a secretary, and I just like to help people connect with our organization, to send the letters. Yes, I have traveled in Russia, and I have been in Moscow and St. Petersburg, and outside of Russia, I have visited Spain, USA, China, and Greece, and last year I was in Turkey.
Oh, so you've traveled.
Turkey. Whoa!
Wow.
Wow, you've traveled a lot. What was the most surprising thing that you found in your travels abroad?
Was a lot of surprises.
The most surprising thing, the biggest surprise.
When I came to the USA, I came there at the night, and I didn't book a number in the hotel. We with my friend was staying at the night at the worker of airport. We didn't know her, but she helped us, and then she helped us to find a bus to go to the state where we're going to go.
That's a real adventure. That's a real adventure. Rosa, in Russian you say nomer gostinice, but in English we don't say number, we say room. We say room. So and I don't know why, but it's just different. But when you're talking about a hotel, you say a room in a hotel. Okay, well, good, ladies. Thank you very much for all of that. It's good to meet you. I want to know where the gentlemen are. Why are there no men here? Anyone know? Have an opinion? Why are there no men in your group? What? Anybody? Nobody knows. All right. Okay, listen, let's go to work. Let's go to work. I want to talk about literature. We gave you a big reading assignment. And about how to analyze literature, and before the end of the day, I want for us to talk about all of these things. But I want you all to talk about these things. Listen, here's your assignment for right now. Dina, I want you to explain, first of all, does everybody see the whiteboard where it says template for analyzing works of literature? Do you see that? And if you don't, then go up to the top. There's a little tab that says AAT Literature Template Light. Pull that down. A template for analyzing works of literature. And we have these factors: form, verisimilitude, characters, conflict, point of view, setting, etc. Okay? Dina, I want you to tell us what form is. Marina, I want you to tell us what verisimilitude is.
Right now?
No, in a minute. Nastya, I want you to tell us what characters is. Olga, I would like you to tell us what conflict means. Tatiana, I would like you to tell us what point of view means. Vita, what setting means. Let's see, Olga, have I given you one? Yes, conflict. Rosa, no, Vita, Yulia. Have I given you one, Yulia? No, I haven't. Yulia, you're gonna tell us about language. When you add what about language? And Rosa, we're going to talk about time. And Maria, you're going to talk about time and duration. Okay.
So, although we have noted who is responsible for which factor on the whiteboard, will each person put their assignment in the chat box?
All right.
So, Olga, you would write conflict.
Just put it in the chat box. The reason we're asking you this is we want you to get accustomed to putting material in the chat box, and this is a good way to do it. This is a good way to do it. So far, you're doing super, my dears, my dear lady students, and gentlemen. Okay, and I want you to tell us just briefly what this means when we talk to these factors, when we're looking at a piece of literature. So I don't see anybody typing in the chat box yet.
It's not too late, but do it quick because time is moving on. Time is money.
Time is money. Chop, chop. Give me a little. Marina, good.
May I ask, what about that say about idea of form? I didn't hear.
Dina, I didn't understand.
What idea?
I just want you to type the factor. Like Dina, in your case, you would write, my factor is form. I will be talking about form. Okay, that's just a simple little statement.
And part of the reason that we ask you to write it in the chat is so that you can get familiar with writing. But the other thing is to help you keep track.
Я могла камеру включить. Вот так.
Okay. Everything sounds good. Okay, so we already have Marina and Olga in the chat, but I want to see more people in the chat, please, ladies. Just type the name of your factor, the factor I gave you. Dina has form, Marina time and duration, Tatiana point of view, Vitya setting, Yulia language, Rosa time, Marina verisimilitude, and we've covered that. Olga Skelena, and Nastya, you're putting characters in. Good, 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 good. Everybody good. Everybody good. I know that this is your first time, so we're being very patient. Everything looks good. Tatiana, thank you. Good. 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 Okay, don't analyze a story. But just tell us what we're talking about. You don't have to analyze the story. We're gonna talk about a story. Olga needs a psychologist. We all, Olga, we all. A psychologist or a bottle of wine, one or the other.
For both.
Or both. Or both. Okay, everybody's looking great. Looking good. Looking good. Okay, well, I want to start this discussion. I want to make sure that we do this and that we work with a piece of literature. And if we don't finish today, then we're going to do it next time. When we look at a piece of literature, and I'm talking about a piece of literature can be a piece of poetry or a novel or a short story or a fairy tale or even a newspaper article, that there are ways to look at this piece of literature that'll inform your understanding of it. And we say that we talk about these factors. We talk about factors. What factors are we looking at? And the first one is form. And when we say form, Dina, what does that mean? Tell us right now what that means. What does it mean? Form. Dina, are you there?
I'm here. The form, the structure of the text, I suppose.
Yeah, structure of the text. And you say structure. Well, what does that mean? How do you divide a text?
You did this very well in the chat. Just tell us what you put in the chat.
I divide myself to the chat to such old chapters. Yeah. I named them.
So does it have chapters? Does it have is there some division? Is it one piece or is it 5, 10 pieces put together? What does it look like? Like a news story, like a story in the newspaper might have paragraphs, divided into paragraphs. A novel might be divided into chapters. A poem might be divided into stanzas, or maybe not. Maybe it's all one piece. Good. Okay. What does verisimilitude mean, Marina? What does that mean? Verisimilitude. Marina, links 989.
Sorry. Okay, if we are talking about this verisimilitude, the main question is, could it happen in the real life or not?
Right. So, yeah, that's the main question. Is this believable? Like we looked, I asked you to look at 2 pieces of literature, Tri Medvedia and Minium Proshasa. And so is the 3 bears, is that believable?
No, it's a fairy tale.
Yeah,
Bears can't speak.
Yeah, and how about the poem by Akhmatova? Is that believable?
A piece of real life.
Oh, it's absolutely real life. Absolutely real life. Absolutely real life. And that's the basic question there. That's the basic question. How about now when we talk about characters? Oh, this is what we're talking about, Nastya. When we talk about characters, what are we looking at, please?
When we talk about characters, we are talking about those who act in the story, I think. And in this story, the first character is the narrator. He just observes and tells us the story. He doesn't participate. The second character is a girl who has no name. We know nothing about her.
Yeah.
But she acts, and through this we can understand the main idea of the fairy tale.
And who has names in this story?
The bears have names in the story.
The bears have names.
Yes.
The bears have names. So you have a narrator, you have a little girl,
and a family of bears.
And a family of bears. And in the Akhmatova poem, who are the characters there?
I think there we have two characters, the narrator and the second one who might be her lover.
So you said her lover. So how do you know that it's a woman?
The second character?
The first character. The first character is you said that we have a narrator and her lover. In the Akhmatova poem.
Yes, I think so. So the first character is Anna.
You're right.
Narrate. Anna Akhmatova. She's narrator.
You think that's her?
I'm not sure, but we can suppose it.
Well, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. Well, in this story, in that poem, the narrator is one of the characters, huh? And in Primedvedia, the narrator is not in the story. It's an external narrator.
Yes. In a poem, she takes part in the story. So
yeah, she takes part in the story.
She just observes the.
Good. Okay. Very, very nice. Now, conflict, Olga.
Conflict is a struggle between two forces. It can be external and internal.
Yeah.
Also, for the three bears, we can see their external conflict between the girls' behavior and the civilized bears.
Yeah. So we have there's all kinds of conflict. I love conflict in the story. So and the conflict can be between the characters. The conflict can be between the characters and something else. The conflict can be subtle. The conflict can be very explicit. The conflict gives a great deal of tension in the story.
I suppose that there is a conflict between good and bad, right and wrong.
Yeah.
And the right, the narrator, leads the parents to ask their children if the girl was right or wrong. If it's right that she escaped without punishment.
Listen, I think sometimes the most interesting conflicts are internal conflicts. What do you think, Olga? Internal conflicts, where the conflict is within the person.
As for this girl, I think that there's a conflict. Why she behaves like this? Maybe something in her family or something else.
Yeah. Well, how about let me ask you a question. Let's look at Russian literature, okay? So you have a character like Anna Karenina. Okay, did she have conflict?
Yep.
Yes,
Huh?
yes, of course. She said internal conflict.
Internal conflict.
Internal.
And we know how that that was the whole theme of the story. That was the whole point of the story was her internal conflict. Good. Point of view, Tanya, thank you. Tanya, when we talk about point of view, what are we talking about?
I think point of view is who tells the story and what he sees and where he stands.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. Who tells the story? And we've already seen that sometimes an external character tells the story. Sometimes one of the characters tells the story. Okay. Now, is who tells the story? Is who tells the story? Can you always believe who tells the story?
The first story is told by narrator, by omniscient narrator, and he doesn't participate in the action. And the poem is told. The story in the poem is told by hero who is deep in this story.
Okay,
The
good.
author is the narrator and the hero.
Good. Thank you. Setting, Vita. What does that mean? When you talk about setting, what does that mean?
Setting, the story was what happened in the forest in their house.
And how about in the poem by Akhmatova? What is the setting for that?
They go for a walk outside, and they go to church, to circles and temples.
Okay, they're outside and they're in a church and in a cemetery, and Three Medvedya takes place in the forest, and it takes place in the house.
Yeah, and then they have 2 rooms.
Good. All right, Yulia, tell us about language. What about language?
Language is compressed, concise, broadly, devotes irony, devotes metaphors, devotes symbolism. There is simple describing of characters, of action, very many repeats. For example, the girl take a big spoon, then smallest spoon, then smallest. So that's
Okay. Good. So we have when we look at Three Medvedya, you have all. I look at the language here, and I'm talking about the Russian language. You have Девочка, you have в домику, в домике, you have Подушечка, you have Mishutkina. I'm looking. What kind of language is that?
it's a fairy tale for children, and because
we have all of these diminutives, right? And in the fairy tale, those diminutives, those are nice. But in you would now, Akhmatova would not use diminutives, would she? No, they would not use diminutives. No, it would be absolutely inappropriate. Tone. Rosa, what does tone mean?
Tone, I think that is an emotional, I don't know how to explain. It's emotional color. I don't know.
That sounds good. It's hard to explain. You're right. It's emotional color. Right.
Emotional color, yes.
Yeah, emotional color. Okay, and the last one, time and duration. Time and duration, Maria, please.
If we reading these characters, we see the period one day.
Mm-hmm.
The period of writing of these characters, I
Mm-hmm.
think it is the middle century, maybe I think so, because it's native character.
Mm-hmm.
Lev Tolstoy rewrites this character.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm putting up on the whiteboard the poem by Akhmatova. Now we have fewer than 10 minutes left, so but we'll do it. It's been a great discussion. You've read these stories, and many of your examples related to the stories, Tri Medvedia and Minyone Prashatsa. I would like somebody to read this poem by Akhmatova in Russian. So who would read this? Do you see it? I have put it up on the whiteboard.
Equivalent is very good with spirit, with intentionally.
Yeah. Okay.
The rich Russian language. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. This poem. This is a beautiful poem. Nastya, who would read it? Who would like to read it?
In Russian?
In Russian.
Yes. Oh.
Nastya, давай.
I will try. Мы не умеем прощаться, все бродим плечо к плечу. Уже начинает смеркаться. Ты задумчив, а я молчу. В церковь войдем, увидим, отпевание, крестины, брак. Не взглянув друг на друга, выйдем. Отчего все у нас не так? Или сядем на снег примятый, на кладбище легко вздохнем, и ты палкой чертишь палаты, где мы будем всегда вдвоем.
Thank you, Nastya.
Thank you, Nastya. Very nice. Thank you. What is the tone of this poem? Is this a tone of two lovers enjoying each other? Is this a tone? What is the tone here? When you finish reading this, how do you feel? Are you happy?
No.
No.
No, I feel...
No, Marina, are you happy when you hear this? When you finish reading this?
It's a sad story.
It's a sad story. What makes it sad?
Emotional way, emotional color. It's like they're on the age of breaking their relationships.
Yeah, I think you're right. Olga, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this?
I think very sad because the two lovers who really love each other must for some reason part with each other. For some reason, but under the circumstances that don't under them.
Does anyone else have a comment about this poem? Does anyone else have a comment about this poem?
The period, the silver century, I think, Ukrainian, Akhmatova, it's tragedy period in history for Russia. It's a period of revolution.
Mhm.
of revolution in my country. It was also for everybody.
Mhm.
And the poem has some the second
Stanza.
yeah.
Stanza. Now, this poem does not have a name. This poem does not have a name. You know, the other story has a name, Pinyedeja. And this poem does not have a name. Minyu Min Prashatsa. Other poems by Akhmatova have names. Mudrstvo. That has a name. This one does not have a name. And this one we call by its first name. We know this poem by its first line. Minyu Min Prashatsa. Is that important to anybody to not have a name?
Because she couldn't express definitely what she does feel.
Yeah.
When she was writing lyrics, and I think that this is she wouldn't like to influence on the readers, make influence on the readers with the name of the lyrics. She wants to make everybody feel something from their soul. I think so.
Okay, we're about done with. We're about finished with our lesson. Here's our last task for today. In the chat, I would like each of you to put a name for this poem. To write a name for this poem. Put a name for this poem. A title for this poem.
English.
A name. Of course, in English. Of course. Of course, in English. I want you to write a name for this poem. We will today. Our task is to help Anna Akhmatova finish her job by writing a name for this poem. Give this poem a name. As you're doing that, listen to me. Next, for our next lesson, we're going to give you a short story from reading, and then we will analyze that short story when we get together. Ooh, good titles. Good titles. Marina says parting. Twilight sadness. Olga says, what should we do? Что делать? That sounds like something Lenin would write. All right. Well, let's everybody put a name in there. Everybody put a name in there. Nastya, what do we have here? We'll read a short story. Regret. Regret. Regret, Vita. Good names. Taboo relations. Ooh. You know, I like taboo relations because whose fault? You know, we don't know if these people are married to each other, do we? We don't know that. Are they lovers? We don't know how old they are. Would that matter? Yeah. All right. What is to be done? What is to be done? Good names. Good names. Good names. I want to say on behalf of Professor Mack and Professor Marston and myself that we're very, very happy to have this opportunity to work with you. This is a good group. It's a big group, but I really appreciate the enthusiasm with which you came to class today. And read the club, because there'll be an announcement. There'll be an assignment for next week, and also a written assignment for next week. Does anyone have any questions before we leave for today? Anyone have any questions? Okay. Remember, the other rule is, and I think I have broken it more often than anyone. No rushing. No rushing. All right. Thank you all very much. You all are free to go. Good job. Very well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, much.